Welcome family. Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time watching me, please subscribe and engage in the comment section. To all my returning subscribers, thank you so much. My name is Andronica Nozipho Mamadota, and on this channel we discuss all things divine femininity. Yes, I believe, me and a whole lot of other people, an entire collective, knows, because you can't believe something and know it. I'll share that one day. We know that this is the era of the divine feminine. She is taking over and she is deconstructing everything and rearranging everything. So, again, I say, don't be stuck on the wrong side of history. But yes, in this channel, we speak mostly about that, what that means for us today. And also, I am a healer. So, I'll be sharing a lot of spiritual healing content as well. And then once in a blue moon, I'll be sharing my music as well. So that's what this channel is about. Thank you all you guys who have subscribed. Thank you so much. Please don't be afraid to engage on the comment section. And yeah, let's get into today's message. So, as the title of this video says, or will say, because I'm still going to have to do that, your true existence. I want us to go into that today. So, you don't just exist primarily in the 3D. What's the 3D? The 3D is this earth, this world that we live in. You don't only exist here in your body. A lot of people think that what they see and what they can touch, hold, smell, sense, or mostly touch and see is all there is to their existence. And today I want to open your perspective a little bit broader so that you can make your 3D experience a much more pleasant one. So, like I said, you don't only exist in the 3D. The 3D is just one dimension of your existence. Okay? For example, if you take a picture of me, right, and you show it to your friend, or you see it yourself, that picture, is it me? Yes, it's still me on the picture, but it's not me in the 3D. It's not me in flesh and blood. Flesh and blood, is that what they say? Flesh and bones. It's not me physically. You're seeing a reflection of me, but it's still me. Okay? When you see this video, it's not going to be the same time I'm recording it, right? When you see this video, you're going to see another layer of me. You're not going to see the me in flesh and blood. Okay? When you go outside and the sun shines on you, okay, you see your shadow. Now that shadow is still you. You understand? That shadow is still you, but it's a different layer of you. It's in a different dimension, but it's still you. If I send you a voice note, if I send a voice note to my friend in America and she listens to it, who's speaking in that voice note? It's me, but I'm not speaking in real time as I would be in this moment I'm taking this video. It's a bit complex, but I want to try to break it down the same way I'd break it down to a little child, because these things can, get a bit complicated until we lose it and then we're not interested anymore because it sounds so complicated, but it really isn't. You just need to kind of, go with me. So I've already proven, right, through the examples that I've just given you, that we exist in different layers, but it's still you, but you're existing in different layers. Stay with me. There are dimensions that are higher than the 3D that actually control the 3D. Okay? These dimensions are words. Okay? We can't see your words. We can hear them, but we can't see them. We can't touch them. Yet your words have such an effect on what happens in the 3D. If you swear at me right now, right, you would have sworn at me. You didn't touch me. You didn't come to my house and steal from me, right? You didn't do anything physical, but your effects on me are going to be real. I'm going to feel bad. I'm going to feel offended. I'm going to feel sad. So words are another dimension that is higher than the 3D. Your emotions. You can't touch anger. You can't touch guilt. You can't touch shame. You can't touch pride, but you feel it. You can't touch love, right? But you know it when it's real. You know when love is coming from your heart and when somebody loves you back and when you love someone, right? That's another dimension, your emotions. And then there's your thoughts, okay? Your thoughts, we can't see your thoughts. We can't touch your thoughts. We can't say in the moment what you're thinking, but your life eventually will prove to us the things that you think about when you're alone. So all of these that I just mentioned right now are higher dimensions, higher than the 3D. There are dimensions that are lower. I think those are the ones that I made an example of in the beginning, like your shadow, your picture, a video of you that's not, being recognized in real time. Those are lower dimensions. Higher dimensions are words, feelings, and thoughts. Your thoughts are so, so powerful. Your thoughts literally are the foundation of what shapes your 3D reality. We were taught to focus so much on the 3D. And I mean, I understand why. It's because that's the world we all, it's the easiest dimension to understand because we can see everything, we can touch everything, we can smell. Our five senses basically are involved in the 3D. So it makes it look like it's the ultimate reality. There are realities that are higher than the 3D that shape and form your 3D. Now, these higher dimensions, these higher layers, higher realities, right? These are the ones that actually shape your 3D. What does that mean? Your 3D today, how you look like, your job, your family, your relationships, everything that you can see in the 3D today was formed by your existence. Your existence. Meaning you are still in control, but we're in higher dimensions. Your words, your thoughts, and your feelings, those are what shaped the 3D life that you live today. So your 3D life is a reflection. It's a result of the higher dimensions that you exist in. Meaning what you say is what has shaped your life today. What you think is what has shaped your life today. What you feel is what has shaped your life today. The same way the shadow depends on you to step in the sun. Your 3D self depends on how you exist or how you conduct your existence in the higher dimensions, your words, your thoughts, your feelings. Stay with me. Great. So, affirmations are a great way, your words are a great way to train your vocabulary. Okay, they're great, they're amazing. You know how they teach us to always speak positively. You have to say positive things. You have to speak positively about yourself. It's amazing, it's great. But primarily, it shapes your vocabulary. Because a lot of us grow up speaking just anyhow and wonder why our life looks the way it looks. If every day you say things like, I'm so broke, and you say it even jokingly, and you wonder why you're always so broke, it's because you haven't trained your tongue. You haven't trained your words. So affirmations are powerful. Affirmations are great. However, affirmations are not the foundation. And a lot of people get it wrong because a lot of people, let's say you're struggling with a sickness, right? And every day they say, speak positive, speak positive. You stand in the mirror and say, I am healed from this sickness. I am healed from the sickness. I'm healed from the sickness. And you do it for 2-3 months and then you get worse and then you're like, you know what, this doesn't work. I'm out of here. This is all nonsense. This quantum nonsense stuff doesn't work. You know why it didn't work? Because you didn't do it from the foundation. The foundation are your thoughts. Your foundation are your thoughts. You don't affirm to change your thoughts. Your thoughts are what will produce your affirmations. That's true alignment. For example, You don't eat so you can cook. Bear with me, guys. I'm trying to find examples that are so relevant that even like the most simple of us can get it, right? You cook so you can eat. Tell me if you're with me in the comment section. The same way with affirmations. The true way affirmations work, right, is if they are aligned to your thoughts. Your affirmations are not going to fix how you think. And I'm going to tell you what fixes how you think. It's not affirmations. Affirmations are a result of what you truly think of whatever it is you are affirming. Are we together? Great stuff. So, your thoughts are shaped by your subconscious mind. Okay? Your subconscious mind. In this video, I'm going to use subconscious mind and your nervous system as one thing, even though technically it's not, but in this video it's relevant and it's applicable for us to use those two words interchangeably. All right. So, your subconscious mind, I'm going to explain what that is. When you came from higher dimensions as a spirit, as a soul, right? You decided you're going to come into your mama's womb and you were born, right? And the nurse held you and said, oh, it's a girl, it's a boy. You came from a place that is higher vibrationally than the 3D, okay? You came from a higher dimension as a spirit, as a soul. You came into your mama's belly and you were born in this world. Now, when you were born in this world, the people around you, particularly your family, particularly your parents, more especially your mom, these people were assigned or were in a position to train you because you don't know what's happening on planet Earth. You just got here, literally. You don't understand the dynamics yet. You're still fresh. You're still a high vibrational being. By the way, babies are very high vibrational beings because they come from higher realms and higher frequencies. But then they incarnate into this very low, dense 3D dimension. So those around you, your siblings, your older siblings, the people you got here, they are the ones who then shape your subconscious mind. So from 0 years to 7, you were like an empty jar. And everything that you were taught, everything that you observed, everything that was your reality at that time shaped your subconscious mind. Okay? So if you grew up in a family, for example, where there wasn't much to go around, poverty, right? And every time you wanted a little bit more to eat, they told you, no, save some for tomorrow. You're wasting food. Okay? What your little mind registered was lack. There isn't enough to go around. Whenever I have, I shouldn't overuse and spare some for tomorrow because I don't know if I'll have some food. A scarcity mentality was formed in your subconscious mind. So now, as a 37-year-old working woman, you've got all the money in the world, but you refuse to give yourself a good life. You don't want to go on vacation because you feel like you're wasting money. Even if you have some change left, you don't want to buy yourself ice cream and just enjoy the day because you're like, nope, I don't wanna waste money. You still have what? A lack mentality. It's not your fault. It's the programming of your subconscious. Think of your subconscious as the software that runs a computer. You being the computer. So you come into this world high vibrational, but you're an empty vessel. And whatever we teach you, whatever the world teaches you at that moment, is the software that is now going to run your program in life. If you grew up in an abusive home, right, where your dad used to smack your mom around, and maybe they're still together even now, even though on a conscious level, you think you understand that it's wrong, but subconsciously, because your subconscious thoughts are what drive you, they are the most powerful thoughts. They are the ones that shape your 3D reality. You are going to subconsciously think that it's okay to beat your partner up. So every once in a while, when you slap your partner, you don't think it's a big deal. Even though consciously you know it's wrong, you can get arrested. But you think realistically, it's not a bad thing. My parents experienced it and they're still together. So some girls even go as far as saying, Mina, a man that doesn't beat me up does not love me. Because in their subconscious mind, in that mind of that little 4-year-old, 3-year-old, to them love was modeled that way. That if you love someone, it means now and again you have to get physical and beat them up, right? So they experience that to a point whereby even when they're now in healthy relationships and the guy doesn't beat them up or the girl doesn't beat them up, they think something's wrong with the person. They think you don't love me enough. Even though consciously they know that's not true, but subconsciously, that's how powerful the subconscious is. Now they're going to want to provoke them in order to actually get the result that they want. Okay, that's why it's so important to reprogram your subconscious mind. And I'm gonna have a whole new video as to how to do that. But so far, I just want you guys to understand what shapes your 3D existence. Now you exist in other dimensions as well, higher than the ones that I've just described, and some even lower. For example, your dream world. There is a whole other existence that is real and that you do exist in, right? There's the world, the multiverse is so vast. We couldn't possibly get over the true dimensions that we exist in. So who then is the real you, if not your body, if not your thoughts, if not your feelings, if not your words? Who is the you in all these existence, in all these existences? Because it's more than one. It's your conscious self. It's your consciousness. Sorry, let me not say your conscious self because it's not necessarily the same thing. It's your consciousness. All right, backtrack a little. You understanding that your 3D is shaped by higher dimensions, you begin to live differently and you begin to control your 3D by tapping into those dimensions. So now, back to that little child who was taught that lack is normal, don't overspend. Of course, don't overspend irresponsibly, but that does not mean don't enjoy life with the little that you get, because that can be toxic too. Thola umuntu ustingy hayi ngoba uvele unenhliziyo embi, no, usaba ukuthi kusasa uzolamba. And the 37-year-old them knows that this isn't true. But the little child, the software that's running their body, that's running the avatar of their body, believes that. And until they sit down and reprogram, and that takes work, that takes feelings that you have been avoiding your whole life. It takes tears. It's a messy process, but I promise you the results of that is a beautiful rebirth, a beautiful life that happens afterwards. Okay, so your existence that shapes the 3D, right, is your thoughts first. When you get your thoughts first, when you ask yourself, why is it that I sabotage the good things that I get? You'll find that there's a core belief somewhere in your subconscious that is there that you have not yet addressed. Hence, guys, I said, watch that movie in my last video. I said, watch that movie. What's the name? I forgot it, but I mentioned it in the previous video about what happens when we do not address our inner demons and how they become literal monsters in our lives, because that's how powerful our subconscious mind is. Great stuff. So when you have realized that your subconscious needs help, right, you are then able to go into higher dimensions and fix what you need to fix from those dimensions to get the results that you want in the 3D. I'll make an example about myself. In the year, I don't want to expose my age, okay? Don't tempt me. But in high school, in grade 11, I was very bitter towards my parents because they wouldn't let me homeschool. For me, school was a drag. It was overstimulating. I'm very intelligent. I'm super smart. Anybody who knows me will tell you this. So, but I need to be in a certain environment, right, to expose that or to fully embody that. School for me was overstimulating. School for me was a drag. It brought out the worst in me. Okay, it brought out the worst in me. So around grade 9, I pitched the idea of homeschooling to my parents. I had the resources, they had the money. My dad agreed, but my mom, for reasons that I'm not gonna blame her for now, because she didn't know better, she blatantly refused. In her mind, I was quitting school. And baby, no child of hers is gonna leave school. What? No, over her dead body. And I tried to convince her for a long time. I mean, grade 9, grade 10, you can imagine that, Mom, school doesn't bring up the best in me. In school, when I have to be in class filled with other 30 people, I'm average at best. And I know I can do more in my own space when I'm not micromanaged, when I control my own time, control my own studies. She wasn't hearing it at all. So grade 11, I was tired. When I say I was tired, I was here, guys. I was tired. And I just stopped trying. I stopped trying, guys. Grade 11 was my worst year. I performed so badly. I performed horribly. So fast forward December time, exam, ne? We're writing final exams. And I came back home because you know you write exams and then you knock off early, like 10, 11, then you go back home and then it's early, you have to prepare for the next exam for the next day. I remember sitting down going, I know I failed. I know I failed this year. I just know I did because I already knew that I did bad in 2 exams, right? I was like, I failed. I know I failed. And back then I was still very Christian and very heavy in Bible and doctrine. So I said, I serve a God of miracles. So today I am going to go into the realm of miracles where I am going to change the situation. So I remember perfectly because I was home alone. It was around 11ish in 11 a.m. and I slept on my parents. It was my parents' room. I went to my parents' room, slept on the bed, and I started going into the mental realm, right? I started first saying, look, I was speaking to my higher self. At the time, I believed it was God, my angel. That was what I knew back then. And I was like, okay, there's a scripture somewhere in Hebrew that says, I must labor to enter the rest. Because I knew that I was burdened by the thought and the idea that I'm going to fail the year. And then I just went there and I did my short prayer. But then after that, I literally sat on that bed, almost like in a meditative state. And for 45 minutes straight, I remember I checked the time. For 45 minutes straight, I started imagining myself being in matric the next year. I started imagining myself being with my friends in matric the next year. I started imagining myself going to the matric farewell. I started imagining myself doing activities that only matrics were allowed to do. I sat there for a good 45 minutes and my emotions were evolved. You know, when I thought of a joke that I would share with a friend in that meditative state, I would laugh. When I thought I had my best friend at the time, Umatiti, me and her used to have very deep conversations, very emotional ones. I'd imagine having those conversations in the upper place where the matrix would sit in the hall, right? And I'd imagine being with her there and telling her something deep and us hugging and me being emotional and her being. I literally sat for 45 minutes and I imagined what being in matric would look like, what being in matric would feel like. And then I stopped. And let me tell you, I knew I can't point my finger at why and how, but I knew in my heart of hearts, I knew in my soul that I was going to be in matric the next year. And I also knew that on paper, in the 3D, I had failed grade 11. Okay, so now I have two thoughts, right? I know I failed grade 11, but I also know that because of this exercise that I just did, I'm making it to matric. Okay, it's December time. I didn't fetch my report. I didn't fetch my report because I didn't want to hear the bad news and ruin my December. And if you're South African, you know that December is a whole culture for us, okay? I wasn't going to let that ruin my festive season, child, no. I was going to spend time with my friends, my cousins, and we were going to be happy. So, you know, the uncles and the aunties, they ask, hey, did you pass? Did you pass? My answer was, I don't know. Didn't fetch my report. Which was the truth, right? I don't know. Let me tell you something. I fetched my report a day, literally one day before schools reopened. Now, when I got my report, I went to school and they said, you owe a textbook. And I was like, I don't know where the textbook is. Tell me how much I owe. And I had to pay, I think, 150 Rand. And then I got my report. Lo and behold, the girl had failed. I did not meet the minimum average to make it through to the next grade. I failed. But guess what? At the end of the report, where it says pass or fail, it said condoned to matric. Meaning they felt sorry for me and knew that I didn't pass for whatever reasons. I don't know what made them feel sorry for me. Maybe it's because they knew that I am intelligent, I'm just lazy, or whatever the case was. But true, behold, I've made it to matric. And I know that it was not for any other reason other than that I sat in that meditative space and I did what I had to do. So, friends, family, this is